Call to order, roll call. Pavich,
Here.
Hamilton. Here. Risley.
Here.
Peterson.
Here.
Gerald's here. All here. Okay, and then item number 2, moving on, public comment. All crickets, okay. On number 3, do we have an approval for the agenda?
Second.
Peterson. Second. Alrighty. And number 4, approval of the utility board meeting minutes from July 9th, 2024. Do you have a motion?
Motion.
Second,
Second.
voice vote, ayes,
Aye.
nays? All ayes, pass. Okay. On item 5, financials. Consideration to approve the bills payable. We have a chance to look those over. Any questions?
One question I have, like more ordering like smaller things, I know like seeing minimal or whatever, like the stamp we got for Jeff. $41, $42, I believe, I think it's 41. Like, those can be purchased at Staples for like 10 or $12. Is there a reason why we go to this place? Do we have to have a certain? I know it seems minimal, but in the scheme of things.
So we do have an account at Staples and we get as much through there as we can. We have to have a minimum order, so I don't know, if that would be a reason for it or if the customization has to be done.
I
We can look
know,
into that.
I think, and Martha did it through Des Moines stamp, was
Yeah.
then Dash and Split was always used before.
Next time explore, we'll check and see if Staples can do the customization for the signatures.
Yeah, and like I said, they usually do them for like 13, and I went in and double checked, but that's still the standard price. Unless, usually, like a company like that, if it was engineer or like my notary stamp comes from there. Like certain,
Yeah,
I was
we
just
usually
wondering.
order notary stamps from there. But we'll make a note on the signature stamps as well.
Okay, any other questions?
Yeah, I got a question on the, it's like the new football stadium concession stand, that meter, 3,200. Is that something that,
It's a pass-through cost, so we pay for it and then we invoice.
okay, we get,
We get reimbursed.
okay, good. That's what I want to make sure we're just not eating that. Okay, good. That's the only thing that stuck out to me.
I have a question on the Alliant bill. Is the reason we we get bills from Alliant, is it providing power for ourselves, or that's because it's,
So the Alliant is for, our water tower on 16th Avenue, that's Alliant territory.
oh, is it? Oh,
Yep,
okay.
that's, so our fee for that is for the power.
Can't take that. Don't want to. Okay. I didn't know how. Okay.
Good luck, I guess.
Okay. I didn't know how the territory worked. It was probably odd, and sometimes Alliant shows up on the bill. Okay. Well, they won't let us have it on.
No, I don't think so.
That makes sense.
Okay, since we're in the business of providing electricity, I just thought we had to hold everything up, we own. So. All right. Do we have a motion to approve the bills payable then? Motion. Motion by Hamilton,
I'll second.
second by Peterson. Voice vote, ayes,
Aye.
nays? All pass.
Hey, Craig, for the record, everything east of Highway 61 is all, not just the water tower, that's everything. correct?
East of 61, old 61, or new
The
61,
formerly, yeah, the new.
new 61, okay, gotcha, okay.
I didn't know that.
So like,
So like when our tower goes up, they usually say,
so like everything north of Jackson there, that's all Alliant too, the big buildings up there, the gun factory, and that.
yeah, that's all.
Is it? Okay. Didn't know it, close we had one there. Okay. All right, item B, financial, discussion and consideration on investing a portion of utility funds in VITA. And look that over.
Yeah.
It's not more money. Yeah, kind of no brainer.
I guess, I'd like to understand what we have, for large capital investment or budgets, the expenditures, because there's some big things that we've got upon us right now, especially with the water tower rehab and the, you know, we just pulled what pump two, and what the bills are gonna look like for that, but, if there is a set reserve that.
Yeah, we have to decide how much you want to keep in there.
Yeah, that's what I would wanna,
And then you can put them in 4-week, 8-week, 13, 26. We
sure, yeah.
emails and then how long you want to put it in there. I do.
What's the biggest ROI like on those weeks? Do we know that? Like, is it better to do 4 weeks versus 8 weeks? Or is it the same?
Yeah, if you look online, it changes every week amount, the auction amount, and it varies like 0.1% or 100% it changes very minimal. Depending on what the Fed does with their interest rate, but the current's running over 5 right now for anything, most things out there. I mean, it will vary every week. Just look at it. So I've been doing it a while and it's 5% better than 1.75.
Sure.
Yeah. It's free money for just soft money, so. Yeah. And it's easy to set up, but, Barry said he'd do it, he works for Central, Barry Bossler, the financial guy. He can set it up for us, so we can do it on our own too.
Yeah.
We want to entrust him on the city clerk for whatever to open an account and do it, so,
Is that for sure the route we want to go is for central?
well, the money's there, I mean, it basically take it out of the account and put it right back. in 4
Transfer.
weeks. Yeah. I mean, I do it all the time, it just comes back in 4 weeks, but, well, so.
Mhm. And so in our budget, do we have the, you know, maybe we should talk about, you know, with the amount, so we would feel safe.
Yeah, once, if everybody agrees, I'll go talk to Barry some more and see what we think and what. Yeah, so I'm not sure, but.
Yeah,
Well,
'cause
they're insured for about as much as your normal bank insures anything, right? Maybe at risk, anything risk, but they're paying, I mean, they're still gonna insure that amount, whether it's in a savings account.
Yeah. T-bills. When it's out of the bank, it's T-bills, sure.
Yeah.
Until it comes back.
So you're actually expanding.
When is that
safety.
5-year plan or what we voted on before? When is that expected to, is that next?
So we'll be scheduling a kickoff meeting with, Lenny and his team for the end of July.
Okay,
And then we'll kind of work through a timeline and it's gonna depend on, if we wanna apply for the SRF funding. But they take probably a few months to complete. And I don't know with the hydraulic model, if that will add a little more time too, but by the first meeting in August, we should have an idea on timeline.
okay, because that would be my only hesitation, like to get a timeline of what do we need to get in place? What is our timeline for how much money we're gonna have to expend out? How much time we've got to wait, and if we apply for that 0% loan, that would be extremely helpful. Then I think I would feel more comfortable tossing some of the money into that to earn more, but just kind of get a little bit of an idea,
Right.
you know, but yeah.
Okay. So we have a motion to move forward and looking into more. I'll go to the bank and do some more research. Anything, second?
I'll second.
Peterson, second. Ayes? Aye. Yes. Okay, item C, discussion and consideration of approved purchase of cell phone and service transfer for new employee. Who we talking?
So, we have Keegan, coming back as a returning employee, and when we get our employees, the utility employees and public works employees have phones that are provided by the city/utility, because they're on call and
Right.
and all of that. So what we typically are paying for a phone, when I checked with our account provider is somewhere. $479.99. In order for him to just move the current line that he already has, he just happened to have just upgraded his phone prior to coming back. There can't be any installment plans out on there. So in order for him to just have one phone and transfer it over, the I guess the request that I would have or the recommendation would be that we would just, pay either what we would pay to purchase a cell phone for him on our plan and have him carry two phones around, or just pay that amount and he can either pay the balance, I think it's different, of about $200, or just pay so that there's no installment plans, he only has to carry one phone. It's not something that we come up with very often, but we would be paying 500 anyways
Yeah,
to buy a phone.
You don't want to carry two phones, right? No.
I think it's best plan is just to go ahead and cancel his
I mean,
plan. You got your own phone.
Yeah, so, because, so it'd be just transferred out of my plan to.
what you're going for.
I guess one of my questions would be like in lieu of some of the other actions that have taken place with personal phones and things that have ran through that, like if Keegan decided to leave or he was let go for some reason,
You okay?
That becomes our property since we're paying for
and
it.
then he's gonna, would have to get it.
Yes, or we would transfer all the records off of it and wipe, he could still keep the phone itself.
Mhm.
We've done that and we would release the lines, we could keep his number, but we would first make sure the record is routine.
I think that's the time before, is when I left, you guys kept the phone.
Yeah.
And then I had to go.
Okay.
Typically, we do, but there have been times where we've just taken the records off it, reset it, and let them keep the phone too, just depending on whether there's anything we can do with it or not. So that's kind of a case by case basis now.
Yep.
And matter of how basis, but he is on it, but when I worked, I had two phones, so I didn't want my personal stuff on my work and vice versa, because, you know, just, it wasn't my choice, so it's up to your choice, I don't care, yeah.
So I just look at it as one bill I can eliminate for my family, so.
Yeah, no, that's fine, I just wanted to make sure where that. Big brother can be watching if they wanted to. But,
Yeah, so it might expose your personal information if there was ever a records request or what have you, right?
Which,
So we could take his personal, we would see his personal information as we were accessing it, but his personal information doesn't become public.
Mhm.
We would only be able to provide the records that were public, but for the person who's going through and searching it, I mean, there's always that risk, and we try to let all of the employees know that, so they can make that decision and be informed on whether they want to have it together or not.
Yeah.
We don't run into that,
okay, yeah, just try to
thankfully,
wait
but
both sides for you.
yeah, we do. Yeah, let them know that.
Yeah, so, okay.
I don't have a problem with that, I'll make a motion.
Second,
Okay. Voice vote,
Aye.
motion passes. Thanks. All right, we have item D, update on the Dickinson, Bradshaw, Fowler, and Hagan record.
So we did receive some information. Craig was back in town. I was back in town for a day or so. I could not get into, the kite work site that they had. So Craig printed it off. Spent about 4.5 hours going through this information last Wednesday. It's up here if anybody wants here to look at it. Abby's looked at it. Craig's went through it, obviously. There's nothing really of importance in here. There were no attachments with any of these documents. We went ahead, Abby and I put them all in chronological order, highlighted a few things that we had questions on. Since then, I did request on the 14th, I believe, the records again from the attorney, no response. I spoke to Allison. We decided, I just said, I mean, we're wasting time. We spent a lot of time on this side of this all. She did send a letter out, requesting Mr. Landy email today. Said he talked to the firm, they're going to do that. I did request though, because if these aren't put in exhibits like they should have been presented, we're gonna have a lot of work that we would approve and pay for them to be sent to us mailed, so we're not going through the efforts that we did before. So probably within, I would say, I mean, the way Mr. Landy sounded, they were gonna get on this, he was gonna talk to his staff to see if they could mail them to us.
They just sent an email. Did you see that?
Like late today, later.
Yeah. Due to the volume, we were uploading the client files to Kiteworks today. It may not be fully complete until tomorrow morning.
I did see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was earlier. So I've asked them, I'm sure they will. Like I said, we'll pay for them to do it in their time because the time we've all spent on it, going through trying to get in this kite works, it will not work for me. It worked initially. Craig's had to print it out, we went through these files and hand them to us that way at this stage. So hopefully we have them for the next 2 weeks and then we can get this taken care of and resolved and get this paid.
If it leads us anywhere.
And I don't know if we wanted to, I mean, we can discuss that after, I don't know if it needs to be a closed session. I'll give these to you, Craig, just take, or excuse me, Mike, to look at. I haven't had time to fully like write it all out and put our notes on them, you know, there were some of the things, personal emails being used on them and items from the attorney saying, in one of his emails, he did say, Craig was copied on that also, we would not be charged for any of Brock Krager's
Mhm.
any dealings they had with him, you know, that's a question, I think, since the board did vote for them. Like, why aren't we receiving that information? Why are we being billed for it? So a few minor things like that. One other thing we did notice, Jake Rowe did sign off on the initial agreement between the utility board and the attorney Dickinson. Can he legally, and is he authorized to sign off on that? He's not a utility board member. And we were unclear for that. We looked for a little, talked to a councilman and asked, but he isn't a trustee of the boards. We were just confused on why he signed off on this.
It would have to be expressly stated in his job description, and I know he brought one forward, but that's so far been unable to be located. I can't locate any job descriptions. It says in the minutes that there were job descriptions provided. But yeah. As of yet.
Is it in any of those drop files? Do we have access to
Yeah, I've
those?
searched all of those. Yeah, I've downloaded everything that I could at this point off of both of the drop boxes. And we've closed out as far as we know any other access to those. But even searching through those files, there are no documents that for that meeting or any job descriptions to go with it.
So it sounds like we've scratched the surface. There's still more to come.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, like I said, we've spent 4 hours going through these emails and
Mhm.
piecing them together. There were no chronological order. Most items, you know, usually come with exhibit 1 or exhibit 2, that type of stuff. And then you have all these references embedded in here of attachments. We don't have the attachments.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the information going back and forth was,
See it.
Mr. Yossi sent this email to us. Mayor King sent this to us. XYZ has a suit against something, nothing that, some of the stuff didn't even pertain to.
What they
Actually.
were hired to do. So
Yeah.
that's why you just need to have the complete record and then sort through it and make sure that what we're paying for matches what they were hired to do.
And we did find, you know, on a couple items, say, I'll just use these dates randomly. There's emails from March 24th through March 28th. In my experience, we discussed different things. There's no bills for those dates. Like, an attorney is going to bill you, whether it's a quarter of an hour or
Mhm.
there's nothing, and then on April 3rd, there's a charge. Okay, what is that? Typically, it's spelled
It is
out.
a charge, but they can't tie it extra time. work.
Correct. So again, you know, it's not that we're questioning what they've done and it's not right. Or something's wrong with it, but we don't have the backup to substantiate it yet, and that's why.
It was properly authorized.
So Keegan, any files you guys find you need or missing that you have run into? Nothing, okay.
Because I haven't really gone through
Yeah,
the full files of the market.
I don't know, I got everything I need.
okay.
Good.
Which it might be something you wanna do, like if you need to go through some of it, just, so we have that, and let us know if you see
Make
anything missing.
Most, as long as we have the MORs in our daily log, that's the majority of what we deal with, so as far as documentation. In there. But
Yeah, I'm just curious if you think you got everything needed or something. Deleted it, you know?
And I don't know if I mentioned this when we started this conversation on Dickinson, we did request assistance from an attorney to get these records. So they are the ones that we were getting it. So, and then we got a response, and that went out Monday,
Monday.
and then we got a response to it. Yes.
On to item number 6, electric department.
So we had 2 outages last week, on the 16th, all about 10:45, 650 East Leclerc Road, said they had no power. That'd be Ace Hardware. So we went out there. So there's a tap off the main line. It's got 3 porcelain cutouts to it. I'm thinking to that big storm part before, there's a lot of lightning and it finally broke. So it was just hanging there in half. So,
Okay, I'll do it.
yeah. So, fix
Let's
that.
say which storm and which when.
Yeah, the big one, the night before, so. I'm just speculating, because it was, both pieces were pretty cracked, pretty good, so it's finally split in half by the next morning, so.
Okay.
Slap a new one up. They got. They're not convertible, so. So, it's not wear and tear with ice and stuff, and it's porcelain, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Power restored at 11:05, so 20 minutes. So,
Okay.
Then 2 days later, on the 18th, it was a coincidence, the exact same line, there was animal contact that took out that same fuse, so both times, 9 customers were affected, so, that one was right at 7 o'clock, it was reported.
Yeah.
At Brian Wilson's farm at 750 East of the road, he told me about it, so we went out there, it was 15 minutes, I was back on at 7:15 in the morning, so.
Yeah. So I picture my farm before.
Yep.
It's gone.
We found it. So, yeah.
They won't do it again.
Yeah.
What happens to that?
Yeah.
One and done.
All right. Under the pole inspection, you guys.
Yep, so, Mike Tech came out, they do our pole inspections. They didn't know they hadn't been out in a few years, so. I found our pole inspection plans previous, so they did 160 poles for us, just go around, I had to do what was on our map scheduled for 2024. Had to do 2025, since they were there already, so, 160 poles, they built, 4 of them, so 3 of them have already been replaced as of today and yesterday, so.
Okay.
They were just streetlight poles out in the front yards and stuff, so nothing major.
Been around a while. And
Yeah, so, and, one more needs to be replaced, that's a short pole too.
Yeah. Just curious, I know in like in the new parts of town, we put, aluminum poles or steel. And some places have the old wood pole, is that a thing that replace them all someday, or that everybody talk about it?
Uh,
Because, those feet from the bottom were the old ones feet from the area line, but.
Yeah. when you get into your metal structures and steel structures, that's more high voltage than what we have, so, we'll always, stick with the wood pole. The new poles we set now are actually green treated and they last a lot longer than diesel style ones do, so.
Okay.
And we do chemically wrap every new one that we put on there, so I spoke to the Tech guy and he said that's very beneficial in itself, just wrap it right away and it preserves it for a very long time, so.
After lifetime.
Yep.
Okay, any department update then?
So underground inspection that we've been working on, that's all wrapped up and we've already got projects scheduled to make any corrections that we found and stuff. At that point, it's just us doing our jobs and fixing those general maintenance wise and stuff, so.
Any high priority items that you identified or?
We had, actually got an hour scheduled tomorrow morning, open up a transformer and one of the elbows is all swollen and stuff like that, so it's been leaking oil a little bit, so. We're gonna hopefully raise it up and hopefully we don't have to change it out if we find any major problems, however, so. Spoke to the other guys and we hit that area hard like 6 years ago, so, and made a lot of updates, and they didn't find anything major, so everything pretty well looked good in that area this year, so.
Okay.
Yeah,
What person online then, yes, any candidates, anything?
still haven't got any more applicants, we're still posting, so.
Okay, yeah. All right.
Just bouncing back real quick to the MyTech, the invoice that's in there with the pool inspection, that will be on your next bills payable. So I just included it in the inspection, so you know that amount ahead of time, but that'll come through your next bills payable.
Item 7, water. Okay.
Thank you, Colin.
Consideration to approve for the SCADA upgrade from Tri-State Electric in the amount of $54,866. I do have a consideration. I know they want to move everything to the internet, based on hackers. So still, based on you guys, do you want all the remote? Do you need it? Would it be beneficial to have all the remote
It's
communication from the
beneficial to
system?
have
It's-
remote.
It's very
I
valuable.
don't, that contradicts what, the government wants you to do to isolate everything so that hackers can't get into it. If you don't have the internet there, they can't get in, potentially ruin anything or.
But I would think with the shared IT and what Tri-City would be doing as backup, like that's there to prevent. Some people call them ghosts knocking on your walls, you're hitting, even at home, say there's limited, but some. You could be getting 3,000 attempted entries a day, but they somehow Scott's blocking. I would assume, especially with this upgrade to shared IT, it's gonna be
Yep,
heavily guarded.
yep, we will be on the government plan, and we will be, instead of using remote apps that, that we're currently using to get into these, we will be accessing them through a VPN.
Right.
So the ones that do have remote access will have that VPN secured to our network, which will provide security as well.
Okay. You guys look at it.
On our end, almost no alarms,
Okay,
but a lot of what we do with the SCADA system is starting and stopping pumps, starting a system. That's how we just go through the operation.
yeah.
So SCADA is necessary for us.
Well, I just wondered about the remote ability every had to always run there. I'm just always looking out for intrusions. So, everybody says they're secure, but every day we read about somebody else got hacked, and get to find a way in.
It would seem with less security, do not do that.
Yeah, with the VPN. it's-
Yeah. I mean, you're going to have it. I mean, people can get into these systems,
Yeah.
but somebody watching, shared AT's in the background for this too, and you get reports on entries or attempted or something. I mean, that's what their job is too.
And we switched to the government thing in what, February?
Yes, yeah,
Okay, so it's a short time that we're gonna upgrade to the other, and then,
yep, and this upgrade that we're gonna be in now, it's enhanced security
Yeah.
as well. So we'll be about the same level for security with the government. It'll just be a little different package, but what we recently got approval to upgrade to is gonna provide a lot of enhanced security, plus getting the VPN license for all of the users who are remote, will secure that as well.
Strike force won't be involved.
Not that I know of.
No, it's, I think with the audit that's, we previously voted for, I mean, there's gonna be enhancements and, looking firsthand today at the, we're using for SCADA is,
The Windows 7 computer stuff.
it's hanging in there, but
Make and do.
it's time to,
it's time.
Well, I agree on the computer part. And how they do a dial out and or something, yeah. So the old mechanical way. So.
All motion?
Motion.
Second.
Second. Voice vote.
Aye.
Aye. Pass. All right, item 7B, discussion on proposal from Quad City Construction in the amount of $4,610. New window was screened at the water treatment plant.
I think we all agree, that price isn't adding up to us. We don't have the detail.
2 windows.
No justification behind it. Mike, you went out there today to assess it, if you want to add.
Taking a look at it, it's 2 windows, basically 36-inch by 48-inch windows. It's within a block building, but that price seems a little steep.
Mhm.
I say we just put it out for
Can
bid,
we rebid that?
rebid it, and see if we can get some.
Is it urgent or is it just? Oh, okay.
I did the original windows,
Okay.
so the ceiling around them is cracked and bad, and something's missing.
Some of the gasket I can see coming out, so if there was any gas between the panes, it's probably along the seams.
It's not in the window, it's just, I think that price is.
Exactly, it's,
Yeah.
they're new.
I want to see. So we need to, anything we're gonna do, we need to put it out.
Yep, agreed.
Make it more transparent.
And I think like a 7-day turnaround for somebody, I mean, we could probably go out 14 days is more than enough time.
7 to 10. Yeah, we just put a
Yeah, just put it up.
date.
So we usually, reach out to a couple of vendors and ask for a quote or an estimate, and we let them know what we're looking for, and then give them, a response time to turn something in. We do that for probably everything that I'd say is $10,000 or less. After, above that, we start getting into a more formal bid process. So is there a preference on how many quotes you would like? Talk to do 3, sometimes we do
3.
4.
Always keep somebody honest. You
Yeah.
know, I mean,
Yeah, the 3 is a good number, right? You don't want too many to feel out of space.
Bill Welford, he did the front here, didn't
Yep.
he? He did the filters and something like that.
I mean, and we can, you know, that's something we can talk to Keegan and Colin about for different things. I don't know how much Colin.
Cause you guys are gonna have to probably.
But like, if we had a list, you know, a vendor list, I mean, you guys obviously know people that you've worked with. We've all worked with different type of construction type companies and items like that. So we have it there because we all agree that moving forward, and it may be something different than the board did before, but it's reasonable for us to want to see 2 or 3 quotes. And if it's something that can't be required, then Keegan, if you're giving it in, like, we've got a complete justification as why, like, hey, we've always used X, Y, Z for this. This is why. And we get, like, we use certain companies when they're doing this other work, but when 5 people look at that bid and we're all like, okay, this doesn't add up.
No, I talked to Michael about it, and I myself, I was like, that seems pretty outrageous.
Maybe it's a garage or window.
Well, I mean, that's why I asked for back information, because obviously we weren't on board when the original bid came in. And there was only one bid presented to the board, and that's just,
Yeah, yeah.
And that was February, right?
that was January 31st was the official date.
They approved it in February.
And they approved it in February, I think, 2 months.
So our other question too is, and it's a reasonable question, is it's been 4 months, almost 5 months now, that if we did engage and go ahead and take this one, who's to say they're at, oh, this one up, this one up. So we wanna have something current and up to date on it.
Yeah, so,
Who watched the collection tank over there in Bennington?
Bryson,
Oh, I like that.
we try to do that yearly, and
Okay.
then we've cleaned the inside out.
Yeah,
We waited like 15 years, and then in 15 years, there was only like an inch or 2 of iron buildup in there, so
yeah.
that's like not a every year maintenance thing, but yeah, cleaning that thing is.
Kyle bring his boom truck over next to do the top floor.
We usually, in the past, we've rented a scissor lift from Duke Rental,
Oh, okay.
but we've found we use their guys like the yard mat.
Yeah.
But it's still, those machines are so heavy and it stays soggy around the aerator,
mhm.
so it just makes the biggest ruts. So
So, okay.
it's difficult to clean.
Yeah, okay, I didn't notice the bottom.
The bottom was,
Yeah.
but yeah, the next 2 rungs are,
Okay,
we'll try to get some.
okay, yeah, okay.
So back to this bid, so is Keegan, like, who are we giving this? to? We collectively come up with, for contractors, Keegan?
Keegan and we'll work on.
Okay.
Yeah. Somebody that you guys talk to.
Yeah,
Okay,
and then we'll just try to get something, whatever,
we'll say like,
our date by like,
what's Tuesday, by Friday, we can get a
like
list
August
together,
1st.
get it to him.
Okay.
I think preferably the community would be my preference.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
sure.
Uh-huh. Same thing goes for item C, we do one new bid on the second. Or is that just for?
At this point, it'd be like a kind of like a convenience thing, because right now, our 3 monitors and then all of the desktop or the PCs, they're all just on the corner desk. The original desk in that first bid.
Okay.
it is cluttered, but it's like sufficient right now.
Yeah.
But I think in the future, if
Well, and if we hired anybody else or got,
Or if you have people dropping in, to
Right.
work or.
yeah,
And then I think if we can get the internet updated if we get fiber to the water plant, then we can take more testing and do classes and stuff at the plant as well.
mhm,
Okay.
So then it would just be more space
Mhm.
for more than one person to sit at a desk. So essentially that's
Yeah.
what we're gearing towards. So right now it's sufficient right now.
But this is a special desk, not just a regular desk you buy.
It's just their carpenter that came,
Oh,
did measurements and everything.
so
So
move it around.
So was he just buying one or
I
did,
think they make it. Cause it's like they took specific measurements.
Those are built-ins over there.
no, okay.
So the built-in,
Oh, they're
the
building.
match the existing.
So, and that's what they'll do is they'll match the existing desk, but then we're kind of getting like a U-shaped desk now instead of just a corner shaped desk.
which is good to know, because when I look at that, and I think you guys, like, we go buy a desk for that much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it looks like they're moving some too, which
Yeah.
probably includes a little more.
But again, when I look at it, it's like it's just raising it, a foot or two, so.
Yeah.
It's not like they ever run a new circuit from the, panel. So,
And honestly, I think one of them is just a dead box. There's nothing that goes to it, so we could probably even eliminate that.
Yeah.
Into that.
Yeah, if we want to add something, we can add another outlet or some other connection there if we wanted to.
So it's something like a rolling workstation, rolling desk would be better if you could run an office, or does it have to be built in?
I think I would want it stationary if you were gonna put your computer screen on it or something.
I mean, they're pretty stable.
Yeah.
I mean, what you have there,
Once you
it
get
doesn't
away from
look
the wall.
I mean, it's just kind of
Yeah.
a standard black desk with an L-shaped desk, and if we could find something dimensionally to just kind of extend it and achieve that to utilize the space, I don't see it being almost $8,000.
Well, if we can just find something, because I think it's gonna be tight on time to get a list, have somebody bid it and stuff. For the July or August 6th meeting, so maybe
I mean, there's no hurry.
by
Okay.
the 20th.
And that's something like, even if we don't want to decide on it this year, if we can just, well, we can obviously get by with what we have.
Yeah,
So if that's just something where we get bids and it happens next year, that's fine with us.
yeah,
Okay,
I mean,
sounds good, yeah, get some new quotes on that too.
yeah, we'll send you some stuff, but yeah, at least by the
And
20th.
even ask, talk to Karen and them at QC Construction and get a little bit more detail on,
Why?
or, the desk. Like,
Yeah.
are you making this or are you just piecing this?
On the 70, discussion and consideration of approved purchase of 2 full face respirators with filters for a total amount of $6,140. I think it's a good idea to have them.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And,
Did you know those little 15 for-
Yes, anybody who knows this, disinfectant wipe or some kind of alcohol wipe, and then anybody can wear them.
Okay,
And
How long do they last, Keegan?
so these ones should theoretically last forever. Because all you do is you swap out the filters when they're low, and this particular system tells you when the filters are getting built up and there's insufficient airflow. So I think at the most point, we just change batteries and keep them clean. They should last forever.
yeah, the batteries and filters, you know, I haven't seen what's happening.
Right.
are the batteries standard batteries, or are they proprietary to the equipment?
They did not list that.
The ones I used before, and I think they were from that same company. They were a little bit different than we used because they had to be dedicated to a person. But they automatically had, they were just filled on the system. I think they had a shelf life of like 15 years. But we also had to do on the safety aspect of it, you had to every, whatever it was, 6 months. That was just something we did in our rotations, or like a monthly check of items. Like, I think I had it monthly, just to make sure, because we barely ever touched them. Really.
As far as
So we would just check to make sure, like, okay, it's still got a green light, we're gonna.
Mhm.
these are hard to see.
Yeah. And this,
Also, we're supposed to be wearing these every time we change us.
Oh, okay.
And it's just for that cotton.
Sure.
In the
But,
equipment.
Right,
Yeah.
so I would say we would probably use these once a week, sometimes twice a week.
Okay.
And if we ever do three, so this fall, I know we got away from switching to free chlorine to combat nitrates and nitrites. I'm gonna talk with ISG and have them come in and help us work back through that process. So when we switch to free chlorine, we go through a lot more, so we're changing bottles every other day.
Yeah, okay.
Does this come with extra filters or does it just come with the two that comes with the rest of it?
So I think when you buy the unit, it comes with a filter,
Yeah.
but then we would have to buy more.
Okay.
So,
Because once they're contaminated,
yeah, we just throw them, we can't, there were some that were washable.
yeah.
In our event, I don't think we should take the time, because it's like you have to have certain solutions, like ammonia.
Yeah, or terrible stuff, you know. You don't be the one to figure out the filter doesn't work all of a sudden when you're at risk.
So this is something where it was on that sheet that you guys have, it's obviously the more we order, the better the price is, so.
Yeah.
And then they did not have a listed shelf life, of those filters, I'm assuming as long as we don't, in whatever container they're in, they're not being used, so. I think it lasts forever as long as we kept them sealed. So I guess from the start, we could just order 5 to get the better deal,
Mhm.
and then just have them on the shelf.
Motion, second.
Ayes, aye, nays, both carries.
I'd like to add, since we're talking about the respirators, I know I've talked to Nevada about it before, and a couple people like, your group wears FR. So who is laundry?
We launder those ourselves.
Use the special soaps and.
So with our clothing, you can only use original liquid time, no other detergents, stuff, because that just breaks down the
Yep.
our material. Makes it less safe. Like when you throw them in the dryer, you can't use dryer sheets because the oils on those, it's contaminate your clothes too and stuff.
I just want to make sure like that people were like following that, because if you don't, like.
Yep.
One person throws some, whatever, Tide Pod in there, like it erases any
Right.
safety.
They do say if that accidentally happens, all you gotta do is take them out, redo them, with the original detergent, and that should help take all that stuff back out, so.
Okay.
Yep,
Keep you guys safe.
yep.
Okay.
They're working on a list to actually, both Keegan and Colin, on putting that type of clothing and what would be considered PPE that we should be providing that shouldn't be coming out of their clothing allowance. They're putting an initial list together of what a new employee would need and also a recommendation, from their experience on how often those would need to be replaced so that we can budget for PPE that would be provided by the city or utility, depending on the employee. And then the clothing allowance would be more specific to what needs to be covered in that and what that allowance is for, so we can get a little definition.
So in terms of like their FR clothing for their PPE, like how do you wear that every day?
I have, couple pairs of jeans and like 3 t-shirts, and then you got your long sleeve, you got sweatshirts, you got your bigger coats and stuff. But
I mean, just if they had like a standard uniform for what their specs were and like what it needed, it might be worth, you know, then they don't have to worry about the laundry as a city, and I know there's a safety person making sure they're 100% safe, that a company comes in, you know, they bring in 5 uniforms every week, you know, if you don't have them, you're not getting charged for them. But it's easy too, if they get a couple new guys in that, hey, we need a size medium, you know, there's a couple extra in case somebody jumps in to help them with some minor stuff. It might not be a bad idea, since it isn't gonna come out of the clothing. If they're wearing them, sounds like you're wearing them, you should be almost daily in certain items, but might be something to look into for you guys. And then when you launder them, you just throw them in the basket, and whoever picks them up.
And I don't think you can do that. You can sit there and be,
I know that, but like Aramar and Centus, there are 2 companies that do it. You literally, whatever. Colin gets 5 shirts, 5 pairs of pants a week. They've always got a clean set for him, he brings the dirties in. They launder them, they handle all of it. That's something. Like, not the employees, but it's, yeah.
New uniform. we can,
Yeah, and if you don't use them, like I said, they're not gonna replace anything. They keep account of them. Most people keep 14 on hand, 7-day cycle, but just something to think about. That's something that's down the road.
update on the replacement of the control box.
Yeah, it came in UPS today. We didn't get it put in. My plan is to put that in Thursday. We have the layout of where the wires are supposed to go.
Okay.
And then, I'm hoping this is plug and play, because we're getting the same box back that we sent in.
Yeah.
So as long as we plug it in, and that scale that it's gonna be plugged into is only 2 years old, so it shouldn't be out of calibration.
Okay.
Given if it is out of calibration and it's too far off of what we want, I'm gonna have Pat Berry from JR come down next Tuesday. And, he's gonna help us walk through that, but, yeah, so we have the control box back.
Yeah, the department fees.
We sent nitrates, and ammonia last week. We haven't gotten a report back yet. We took fluoride in today. I actually got that fluoride board that we got. I had asked for a larger elaboration of the significance of it. And they sent back that, so of the 1,209 adjusted systems through 27 states, we were one of 80 in the state of Iowa that received that.
Okay.
So that was a big one.
Mhm.
So we're obviously gonna keep striving for that
Mhm.
benchmark. But,
Did you get your friend picture to hang in your office? I was in the North Scout Red.
but no, other than that, all green lights, moving and grooving.
I think something we talked about today at the plant is, pump 2 was pulled and that's out for repairs. There's no assessment back yet, so, yeah.
They scoped well 2 yesterday.
Okay.
So they'll have a report back hopefully by the end of this week on what they found.
Yeah.
Well 2, that motor is at Yonda. We have not got that back yet, so if it's in our veto goal, I'll send that back. So yeah, we're still doing.
How big of horsepower motors we have on all spirits?
So well 2 was 30 horsepower, I think it was.
Yeah.
And then, 4 and 5 are larger, they might be 50.
Okay.
But yeah, 3 and 2 are the same, and then 4 and 5.
Same way the motors in the farm do get rebuilt on silos and everything.
Yeah.
Anything I could
They're big.
Provided a proposal yet to rebuild well too? Cause didn't you just approve for them to inspect it? Cause well two is the one that performs
Yeah.
low.
It's the business. I actually found, so when well 2 was built in 1929, that original pump was putting out 310 gallons a minute.
Yeah.
It currently puts out 180.
Oh, that's,
So, but that well specifically is almost 100 years old.
wow. That's a long time.
Yes.
Oh.
No, it wasn't the first one. Well 1, I don't know where it was,
Oh, there's been
but it's
well out there.
it's listed on our inventory of wells,
But
but it says inactive.
no location, you
No
know.
location. I don't know where it was, but it was listed.
Okay, see if you can find that. Back
Yeah.
Back in like
I'm sure it's-
1899.
Yeah.
Fancy.
It's got but,
Yeah.
so yeah, well 2,
Water tower.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's probably right over here.
Yeah, right by that old water tower.
Yeah.
They didn't run too much piping back then, so.
No.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
So yeah, well 2 has definitely served its time. I think as soon as we get another one, that'll one get decommissioned, and I don't know how they fill them in. I've never been a part of that process.
Yeah.
So that was what I was gonna ask, like, when do we make like a decision like that? You know, like, is there a cap or something you guys talk about? Like, okay, we're gonna put in X, Y, Z into this. I know we're getting some testing back and.
I mean, did-
I think that audit that audit we approved, last week. Yeah, that'll help give us a big picture on where we're at, where we need to be and.
yeah, they're based on how many holding towers, pumps runners and.
And I think they kind of had a benchmark of well life, and I think it was 20, 30, 40 years. It wasn't, no.
I don't think so, but they used to back then though, Jeff. We get another 100 out of this.
And that's what well three is, like 70 years. And then 4 and 5 are obviously our newer ones. 5 was done in 2005.
And they broke more than
This
them.
is school, the
Well, 5 is.
school that they're all by the baseball bit, right? That's what they water the field with.
That's what I was asking about today. That's not part of the city.
No, but they,
Yeah,
Yeah, so we do, it's GPS.
so that,
It is theirs.
yeah, okay, that's what I thought.
because I asked them the same thing. I saw the pumps back there. So.
But
And this popped my head back to Colin. The school's been talking about doing solar. Is that gonna impact? I don't know what that be, or maybe Mike knows how that would impact utility and electric in the city. Or they talk to you about doing anything or?
I gave them the information that they asked them, and I emailed them way back in June, and I have not heard a word.
Okay. I mean, the outlying schools are easier to put it in, they got the land, but you know, the elder schools, they don't have much land to put in solar panels.
I don't know if they're just tacking these onto the buildings.
Yeah, okay.
That probably
It's gonna
is
be
what
good.
they're doing, so.
And I've been working with Nevada trying to, evaluate where we should be out of the net metering for that, because obviously we don't want to pay retail, to redistribute the electricity, and it's not fair to the community that doesn't have solar, so, we need to make sure those rates align with other PPA agreements that we have with Mid-America, so.
Well, what we did recently find out was, Steve Nadel, your representation from Ehlers and Cooney, who's been representing the utility board for quite some time. He actually wrote, the template interconnection agreement for many of the Iowa electrical, utilities. So he's very familiar with that, and can go through that and can work on contracts, and assist with that pricing and those formulas and putting those contracts together and then keeping them updated as regulations change too. So
Yeah.
pretty lucky with that presentation. He does a good job.
And I'm happy to jump in and look at that as well. I work on a lot of those with TVA and others, so, I'm part of those negotiations a lot of times, so happy to jump in on that. And then two, the other item would be, the safety and the codes and making sure that, the equipment is in compliance and in the having, it's aligned with NEC 690 and our building department is properly inspecting and the fire department is, properly trained on how to respond to these. So, in the event that, God forbid, there is a hazard, it's addressed properly and nobody gets hurt. So,
All right.
And do either of you have anything for us or any considerations or anything you've seen or?
actually, so we just did RPZ checks through Peterson. It's a reduced pressure zone, it's a backflow prevention. That gets done annually. We have one on every single one of our wells, and then wastewater has a few. I think we have some of our sprinkler systems. Our well 4 RPZ did not pass. So they're gonna get us a quote for that, and then obviously give that to you guys for the meeting when that's available. Wastewater also had one of their RPZs not pass, so they're gonna quote us for that one too, but obviously Tony will take care of that. But then, in light of that, anybody that has RPZ in our system has to be doing that annually, and they have to be sending us the report. We were in Sheridan Meadows Apartments, switching out some meter heads. I noticed that there's RPZs on all of their systems. I asked their landlady if they had been testing those annually, and she got pretty defensive. Which Sadie and I looked it up. She had been reporting,
Yeah, she did have them.
but she quit reporting them in 2017.
Yeah, I can't remember for sure, but yeah. there's-
So we have no idea if those are passed or failed. And that's just a contamination liability on our end.
Yeah. So these are like for sprinkler systems.
Sprinkler systems for irrigation, and then if you, usually people like larger lines, so I'm sure they'll cement plants and some other places that pull a large amount. So it might be something where we might have to put a notice that people with RPZs, people with pools usually have them. So they they should be getting those tested annually, and then we should be getting those reports.
Okay,
So that might be something that we have to bring up citywide. It's
9 people.
So Sheridan Meadow, excuse me, Sheridan Meadows and if things, so that's something then that you will go back to them with and try and get these.
Right, 'cause I talked to her last week and she said that she would get back to me because she said her maintenance guy was taking care of it. And obviously never heard back from her, so.
So I just talked to Jeff about this today and he found in the thing code, it does state that they're required. So if you want that.
Yes, because I know there's, obviously, I think mostly people think ground pools.
Mhm.
Those are usually connected straight to the water line, so that would be a possibility of back contamination. So people think about in-ground pools, the businesses, these apartment buildings, they mostly all have them.
Okay,
So how do you educate people? Like I have an in-ground. Like, I wouldn't even,
Right.
I think it's, there's a lot of people that if they look at those.
And that's something where we can give, like in a description, we can have a picture of what they would look like. And then whoever you have come testing, Peterson does it for $120. So, I know it's not a cost that a lot of people want to eat, but it's necessary. So we can provide a picture and description of what the item looks like, and then we could even list Peterson or other people as a reference to who they could call to have those tested.
So it can be a free sampling and come on over and show them.
so pool companies that put the pool in, we know if they put one in, they should be.
They shouldn't have to have.
I'm sure nobody does that.
Was that part of the permitting process though, with the city? So if somebody wants to pull a permit to put a pool in, that definitely should be an item on there.
I mean,
I've read through like when I bought my home, there's everything, when they had the pool put in and my news drones, there's nothing in there like that. Whether or not that's communicated from prior homeowners or something new that's being communicated, definitely.
Oh, it's obscure little lines that nobody agrees or
There's
sees.
a million pools in Eldership.
Yeah, it probably is on the permitting process that they won't pass the permit until that's been done. And usually whoever installs the pool is going to do that as part of the installation because it's required. And then the permit would get passed after it's checked typically, but I don't know how often that's communicated
And
and
probably no
whether they
communication
like
like
do it
keep.
ongoing.
Alrighty. Okay, do I have a motion for adjournment?
a motion.
Second.
Second by Pavage, voice vote.
Aye.
Aye. Nays. Carries, most meeting adjourned.
Like, did you want to look at any of these and take them? I can always grab them for you.